we need to learn bibliometrics today. Now, bibliometrics is basically done in the R language. Now, how to install R language is very simple. I have already uploaded one video for downloading R and using bibliometrics software. So you need to install R Studio and R package. Once you are done with that, we will open R Studio software. And once we are done with the R Studio, we need to write this command, install.package. And then we have bibliometrix. Okay, so in my case, the bibliometrics software is already installed. So if you are doing for the first time, it will give you all this information, and the system will install bibliometrics software. Okay, so once we are done with the bibliometrics software installation, the next thing we need to do is another command, which is library. Okay, and then we need to write bibliometrics. Okay, so because of my bibliometrics is already installed, so that's why it's showing me the library. So now I'm in the bibliometrics library, and I can start using software. So it will give me indication. Okay, now you can see once I use this command, it gives me information, and it is also give me to type digit Biblioshiny. I just copied and pasted. Now I'm in the Biblioshiny software now, and I can start using Biblioshiny software for my data analysis in terms of the bibliometrics. But we will be using this bibliometrics techniques to develop different themes and different clusters of our data. Remember, I will upload the videos, how you are going to install bibliometrics, how are you going to use that bibliometrics software. But most importantly, that is for learning purposes. But today, we are actually using it for some example, which we'll be using to write our paper as well. So that's why it's really, really important for all of you to learn this software, and also to learn how to use it for systematic literature, not just for bibliometrics analysis. Okay, so let's talk about this software. Now, this is the interface you will see for this Biblioshiny software. Now, first thing first, I need to import data. So let's click on the data. Then we click on the load data. Once we are done with that, we have this option, choose what to do, import raw file. When I click here, it will ask me what type of data you want to import. Because I'm using Scopus, you can use any form of data, but I'm using Scopus, so that's why I'm just clicking on the Scopus. So now the system is already set up for Scopus Excel sheet. So now once I import, choose file, browse, and then this is my Excel sheet. When I click start, it will automatically import my data and give me the initial report of my data. So what exactly my data looks like. Now, this is a very important report. It tells me the health of my data, which I have imported from Scopus, and it gives me every information which is available. So the number of citation and the science categories are not available. It's missing, but the rest of the things are almost, I think, acceptable. So we can, if you want to report this, you can just save. So click on the save button, and it will give you a picture of this. But if you don't want to save it, we can just close it and continue our work. Okay. Now, this is our data which we have imported. So you can see it gives me a clear information on everything which we have just imported from the Scopus databases. Okay. So this data is of 193 documents. Okay. So this is what we already imported from Scopus. Now, the next step is, once you are in this interface, it means that you are ready to start working with your data. Okay, so Most of the time, I will be looking at the journal information because I'm really interested in finding out what exactly my data looks like. So when I click on here, overview, main information, you will see the timestamp, sources. Sources mean the research journal, the documents are research articles, the growth, annual growth, co-authorship, and international co-authorship. So all these are different options or different information about the data which we have just imported. And the good thing with the bibliometrics is it gives you plots, and it also gives you the table if you want to export anything. Okay, so if you want to go for 100 or so any number of rows, and then you can export as CSV, a simple click here, or you can export as Excel, you can copy it, you can use PDF version, or you can print. It's your. So let's just export this information, because that is the information which we might need to use in our literature review. Because once we are done with the Prisma framework, the next step is we need to provide information about our data. So what is our number of research articles? What are the book sources, or all these? So this is a very important information, and we can include as a descriptive statistics of our record within our literature review research article. Okay. Okay, and if you're using it for dissertation purposes, I don't think so you need to provide this all information, but still it is a very useful information, and we can use it in a different way. Okay, so now this is the time span, sources, documents, annual percentage, and all these are very simple information and very easy to understand. For example, the number of references, total references cited by all these 193 research articles are 6,524. Okay, so the keyword used were 1,707. Authors keywords are 594, which was provided by the author. So these are all very simple information which we can always, add in our research article. Now, a few things which are important in terms of overview of our data, which is annual scientific production, how many papers have been published every year. So you can see that the number in every year. So if you click here, you will find out how many research articles have been published in what year. So this data contains one article from 1982 and until 2023. So the data we are using is from 1982 to 2023, and we can always export table here. And the good thing about bibliometrics, you can just click here. It's a new version of bibliometrics. Just click here and you can create your own report. Okay, so just click on plus and your scientific production has been added to report. So okay, so whatever we are doing, we are just clicking on this plus button, and at the end of the day, when we have done everything, we can just export one report. Okay, so that's important. So if I want to export this as a PNG file, I can just click here and it will automatically download a PNG file of this chart. Okay, so this is the scientific publication, annual publication per year. Then we have average citation, the same way we can find out how many citations the research articles have received every year. And then this is another important three-field plot, which tells us the authors, the themes, and their keywords link. Okay. Yeah, any question? Okay, anyone have any question? Okay, let's move on if there is no question. Okay, now this is a very important information, but this is more on bibliometrics. So we have these keywords, we have these authors, we have these research articles. Okay, research articles, authors, journals, and the keywords. So these are all different information. Okay, so we click on there and we can find out the links between the authors, the journals, and the keywords which have been used in their research articles. So that's very important information if we want to use it in the bibliometrics analysis. Okay, and the same way, if we want to include that into report, yes, we can just click here plus, and it will automatically add our report into our results. Okay, so this is, and if we want to download, we can just click here and export as a PNG file. Okay, now these were general information about our research documents which we have exported. Okay, and importantly, this time when I'll be uploading this video, I'll break this video into different pieces because this video is very much informative, and you might be distracted with a lot of information flowing through in one video. So I'll be breaking this video into parts so you can understand each part separately. Okay, so this is what we are doing is a bibliometric analysis. System, I believe it's stopped responding. So okay, so let's move on with the overview. I think we have covered this part, the overview, the information about our data. Now let's talk about the journal. So the sources are basically the journal. So if we want to check out which one are the most relevant sources of our search, so we can just click on the most relevant sources, and it will give us the highly the journals in which the most articles were published in my data set. So it will display all these records. Just refresh it. If I think there is some error with this, let me rework on Biblioshiny again. Sorry for interruption. I think there are some issues with the bibliometrics, so that's why I'm just restarting it. Okay, so quickly I'm going to load my data. Okay, so we were talking about the sources. So when I click on the most relevant sources and click here on the run analysis button, the play button, which you can see here, it gives me the journals which publish most article in my data set. Okay, so I can export this file, or I can export this table. If I want to see all, I can just click here and make it show all rows. Okay, so it is showing me all the rows which have journals which publish articles, and then the number of articles published by each journal. So you can see the first journal, lecture notes in the computer science, published 11 articles, which is the most frequent journal. Okay, and then you can see this in the plot form as well. So if you want to add this in report, so you can just click and the system will automatically add this as a report. Okay, so this is most relevant sources. Now, most local cited sources. Now, the local cited sources, I think most of us, we are clear on this because I have another video on this. I will upload that video as well. So the most local cited sources mean that the article, the journal which have been cited within those 6,000 references which we already have in our data set. Okay, not Google Scholar or not any other databases. The article 193 article, they have a list of references, and in total we have, for example, 6,500 references in 193 research articles. And the most local cited sources are the journals which have been most frequent within that 6,500 citations only. We are not comparing it with the whole, okay? So we are just comparing it within the source, okay? So that's why it is called local citation. So we can just run this analysis quickly, and we can find out that these are the research articles which have been, cited most. Okay, these are the journals. Okay, let's move on. This Bradford law, that's very important law. We must need to use this law because this law is telling us the most important sources, most important journals within the category. So what this Bradford law is doing, it's basically dividing your data into 4 different quadrants. The quadrant 1 is basically based on those 2-3 research articles which have 25% of overall publication. If 193 articles in total, almost 25 and 50 or 60 articles were published in 2 or 3 research journals. So it shows us the most important and relevant articles. So Bradford law, I already have another video on that, but still you can understand that it tells us the most important journals. Okay, for example, in this journal, the rank is 1 and it is frequency is 11. So the system will automatically divide your data into 4 zones. Okay, so sorry, 3 zones, not 4. Okay, the zone 1 contains the most important and most relevant journals. Okay, so it means that if you can see, the most important journals are these journals which are in zone 1, and then we have zone 2 where we have only limited number of article published in these journals, and zone 3 is the one which have very few articles published within that journal. So this is the Bradford law. It tells us your data is being divided into 3 different zones, and zone 1 contains the journals which are more important. Okay, now we have impact this citations and all this. So let's move on because we need to work on some specific theme related issues today. So I'll not be going into the details of how we can use bibliometrics analysis because there are a lot of videos available on that, and I already have one video so which you can watch on your portal. I will upload that, okay, for bibliometrics. But here, the purpose for using this software is not to run the bibliometrics analysis. It is to divide our data into different clusters and themes. But the thing is, before moving forward, it's always good to provide some descriptive statistics or descriptive information about your data so we can understand that, oh, okay, the data is reliable and it have these characteristics. So it gives a sense of validity of our search. Okay, so that's why we are using this information. Now, in the author's information, similarly, we can find out more relevant author, the author who have published more article, more cited author, production over time. But this is Lotka's law, which is very important. It is similar like Bradford's law. Bradford's is basically for source, for the journals. Lotka's law is basically for authors. Okay, so now we have similarly different zone, and we will be talking about the highest number of paper have been published with the lowest percentage of the author. So this is the impact of author. For example, the table, if we can look into this table, you can see that there are, okay, so you can see that one document, 519 authors. So in this field, 519 authors have published one article each. Then two papers, 42 authors, 3 paper, 11, 4 paper, 4 authors, 6 paper, 1, and 10 paper, 1 author. So you can see if the number of written document increases, the number of authors who have produced that scientific output is decreasing. So the thing is, the most important or most influential authors are, like, for example, 6 and 10. So the articles have been published by these authors. In that case, we can understand that these are authors who have produced a huge impact in this field, okay, and we can work with them or with those research articles. These are very important articles, and we can learn from these articles as well. And if we want to include them in our report, yes, always we can click plus, or we can export in Excel sheet. So that's how we can understand about the author's productivity through Lotka's law. Now, let's move on to the next point. I will upload a video on all these different options which we can use in bibliometrics analysis. But if I am going through all of them now, I believe it will take 2, 3, 4 hours for completing this one. So let's move on with the next step, where we'll be talking about the clusters and talking about the themes and how we can rework with that. Similar to the authors, you can have all these data from, documents as well. Documents mean your research articles. So